Okay, I want to give you some tips here when you're fixing bad capacitors on a motherboard. So I've done a lot of soldering. I'm not a pro, but I've done a lot of soldering over my years. And I kind of hit a wall here. And basically, if you're watching this video, it's because you got exploded capacitors and you want to swap them out. So you can see I already swapped out all 5 of these, and I've removed all 3 of these. Okay, now I'm not going to show you every step here. What I want to show you is the shit that people edit out. Okay, so now it's kind of a known thing that you need to get it so that all those holes you can see light. Notice how you see light on all of them but the second one down from the top? Maybe a little tiny pinhole of light, but not quite like the other ones. Okay, so what people will show you. Yes, I know. Hopefully after next tax season, I'll have a nice bench tripod set up. I need to start doing more of these videos. They're just really a pain in the ass because I'm not set up for them. But I want to show you this because I scoured YouTube and I didn't find everything I was looking for. So, okay. So I spent quite a few hours on this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And the issue I'm getting into is after I do everything you're supposed to do, which again, watch other videos to see how to do that, you want to use your solder wick, okay? And that's how you're going to soak up the solder so that the through holes are not clogged, because that's the bitch about doing this project, is unclogging those holes. Well, some of them, boom, first try, no problem. Others, I had to add a little bit of a pool of solder to kind of build up the little, the divot or the pocket, the pock, whatever you want to call it, so that it was, you know, all flush so I could heat it up and I could pull it off, okay? Some are really up hard, like that one and this one. You can already see where it's starting. I'm rubbing away the coating on the motherboard due to the abrasive nature of my wick, which you can see I've been through a lot of wicks. I've had a harder time than most of these people that say, oh, it's 1, 2, 3, except for most of those fuckers edit it out. They don't tell you what kind of flux they're using. They don't tell you what temperatures they're using. They don't tell you, you know, Circa date of the motherboard to try to figure out what kind of solder's on there, tin, lead, etc. But I got a double problem, okay? And you may too. The first issue is, I'm pretty sure this motherboard uses a tin solder, which is more of an EPA compliant solder. And the lead solder, of course, which is a lot easier to use, melts at a lower temperature. So I'm using my Kester, what is it, 6040? Oh, it's not easy to see through the camera. 0.031 inch, and it's the, okay, it's 44. Hold on, I can't read it, and I can't remember right now, but I'll post it now. But at any rate, that's the stuff that a lot of times you're going to be using to do this. And when I try to pull it up, it's not the same as the stuff that's clogged in there. So they melt at different temperatures and you get this big fucking headache, okay? So at any rate, I got all these done. I was on these. And then, of course, these 2 holes, that one and that one, started being a real pain in the ass. So let me show you here. I gotta try to look around my camera. You want to get your new capacitors to fit right through, right? This one, I was having a hell of a time on. But look, I got it going through, okay? Here's the secret, and I only figured out one other guy from YouTube that gave this secret. It's pretty standard on most of these motherboards for those capacitor through holes to be 1/32 of an inch, okay? So I sourced literally these little tiny small 1/32 of an inch drill bits. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on our buddy Eisenhower there so you kind of get an idea. I mean, it is small, okay? Now that guy used a die grinder. So I was like, okay. I grabbed my old trusty variable speed die grinder. Well, guess what? That's the smallest the die grinder hole gets because they're all using pretty much universal attachments. So if that being on its smallest setting, look at that shit. Hopefully you can see that okay on my camera angle. You're fucked. You're completely fucked. So fortunately I probably own, I don't know, 10 drills, 15 drills. I started playing with my different drills. And I got this one. This is my Hitachi 12 volt. Okay? Let me zoom in on there for you in case if you want to have one of these, because I found this to be handy for just about everything small. DS10 DFL. And guess what? That's the only one that was able to grip that thing. You know, my D-walls, they weren't machine flat enough. I mean, no matter what, I always had a little pinhole, okay? So, before making this video, I went ahead and drilled out my second one. Bam! Went good. Decided I'm going to make a video because somebody out there may be getting fucked in the ass like I am. Okay? So now we're going to do the second to the bottom one. Basically, when you solder wick it, you're always going to be able to get it flat, and then it creates that little pock. See what I'm saying? What would that be? Concave? Like a little pit? And that's where it becomes hard, and you got to keep adding solder, try to re-wick it, clean it, flux it, yada, yada, yada. All that stuff, again, is covered on other videos. But once you get that little pit, it's no different than using something like a starette punch to get a hole started, because look, the hole started. Now that's flexible, and I'm going to try to do this with the camera, but watch. Bam. Just like that. Okay? Look. Oh, my camera's off. Look at that shit. Just like that. It's fucking beautiful, man. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. When I did these, okay? This one and this one, especially this one, look how much of the motherboard coating I took off. Just absolutely. I spent probably 2 hours just doing those, and that was last night, you know? And then I got to where I got to those. I pulled these caps out last night. I was getting tired, and then finally, you know, I had these couple bad holes, 2 bad holes, and I said, you know what, I'm going to get the drill bit. As I was looking on YouTube for any points or tips, because I know that, you know, if I knew exactly what solder they used on this motherboard, I would use that same solder, I'd pull it up, and then I think it would wick up no problem, you know? So, let me also tell you, I've got 2 different types of fluxes that I was using, okay? And I went through a lot of flux. These don't hold a whole lot. You shouldn't have to go through a lot of flux, but when things don't go the way as planned, you go through a lot of goddamn flux. So, boy, this shit's old too. I know that this is about a year old. I'm in September 2019, but at any rate, the Kester 951, which is no clean, which they say no clean, clean it. You know, make it no clean for the spots you can't get into, but, you know, try to clean it when you're done. And then this more standard 186. Now, my 951 actually worked pretty good. I started really having problems. Like, the 186 right off the bat, I could tell it didn't work that good. But when I ran out of 951, which I don't even think this was full, you know, I bought it on eBay for like $5. The 186 I started using, and I just couldn't make it do anything. So, and that shit's a lot more toxic. It smokes. It smells funky. You know, you're supposed to have ventilation and all that shit. But at any rate, this one, it's either fake or it just didn't work for this project very good. Now, it's hard to know when you're getting legitimate flux because a lot of the people selling it, especially on eBay, are selling fake. So what I basically went by, both of these came from vendors that had sold over 500 of them, had over a 99% feedback with no direct bad feedbacks left on this particular product. So I figured that was about the best I could do. I'm trying to make it an economy project. I don't want to spend $1 million on this motherboard, but this motherboard's kind of sentimental to me, so I wanted to keep it. But at any rate, I think that's all my through holes now. Let's see. But that's all you got to do. I mean, that sucker, once you get that pocket, one, oh, this is fun through the camera. I really need one of those little microscopes with the built-in camera. Two, oh, maybe I do need to drill this one. No, three, just hard through the camera. This one I may have needed the drill. Let me go ahead and clean that one up a little bit. Let you see it again. Basically, the instructions for drilling it out, you need it to be, of course, just slightly larger than the leg. But, I mean, you can use it as a rasp and play like this, and, you can kind of figure it out. You just need something that's close in size. But there you go. Just like that, I opened up two of my holes, about 5 seconds a piece, and I guarantee you I would have spent 2 fucking hours on it, because it's just not coming apart like it normally does. Normally it's effortless, like when the guys do it on YouTube. But keep in mind, those guys are doing something they've already guinea pigged. They got a lot better equipment sometimes. I mean, I'm using a, just kind of a mid-range Willer WES D51. I did try my, I have a solder vacuum, but it was doing the same thing. The suction cup style, it would only pull off the head, but it would still leave the holes dirty. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit if you get into that situation. Otherwise, I'm going to try to get more of these videos because I do a lot of soldering. So thanks for watching. Okay, I got all my caps in. I wanted to add a few more things here. I know I ended the video. First off, when I cut my legs, I use what I use for vaping. It's actually a Coil Master wire cutter. Which is basically the same thing that you would use for this. It just says Coil Master because it's being sold for vaping. So if you need to have those type of cutters, it may or may not be cheaper to buy a nice set like that. And there's the last of my legs. But what I wanted to show you, hopefully I'm going to work okay. As you can see, I got my legs in. Not the prettiest looking little balls, but they penetrated. But what scares me on this old one here, let me get something to point with here. Okay, almost. Point with a piece of solder. Okay. See these little balls? Like, there's one, there's one, there's one. I lost a lot of those balls when I was solder wicking. So, I didn't put this one back on yet. But I just wanted to show you that those go on pretty easy. As long as you clean it, and it'll be like flat, and you flux it, just go ahead, and like I used a small tip. I'll use the dime again to give you an idea. But all I had to do was pre-clean my tip, put a little bit of solder on there. Well, enough to shine it up. I put a little extra dab on the tip. And then literally with the flux on there, you just tap it. And it will ball up. I mean, I did quite a few of those in that area. So, I just wanted to add that in there. Now, what I'm hoping, my mistake, this was the hardest one. I mean, I literally spent an hour and a half on this one. It was so hard that it really rubbed the motherboard. So, I'm hoping this right here isn't going to somehow short out. I don't know exactly what this circuit's for. I mean, it could just be a ground. I don't know. If somebody watching this knows, go ahead and shout out. But I mean, there's a million motherboards. Who knows? But at any rate, my recommendation is if you have problems early on, go straight to the drilling technique. A lot of people say, "Oh, you know, that's hack." It worked so good, so effortlessly, so quick. I mean, I wouldn't have had any of these issues. So I guarantee you, it works so good. I'll probably just pull them in the future and go straight to drilling them out. Well, pull them, do a little bit of solder wick, and then just straight up drill them out. And I think literally now I could have done this whole board in under 10 minutes, start to finish. So thanks for watching.